now both of my kids, 16-year-old son and 9-year-old daughter. And my ex are extremely mad at me because I won't give up my appointed time with them. My son won't even talk to me and my daughter is crying all the time. Me and my ex divorced shortly after my daughter was born. I blame him for it and he blames me. I won't go into detail here. We ended up with a 50/50 custody agreement, switching every other week. While this was 8 years ago, we're still not on good terms. We rarely ever talk to each other outside of the kids, and I'm perfectly fine with that. One thing we have agreed on since the beginning though is that we don't plan things on days that aren't ours. And unless it's extremely important, we don't switch days or weeks. In the 8 years since we've been divorced, I have never asked him to have the kids on a day that isn't mine, and I've never given him one of my days even if he begged. Well, last week my ex contacted me and told me the good news. His parents are hosting a week-long family reunion in the summer at Disneyland and he wants to take the kids. Well, the problem is that it's on one of my weeks. He asked me to let the kids stay with him that week or to switch a week with me, and I shot him down. It's my week with them and I get to spend it with them. I told him if it's so important to him to reschedule, but he claims his parents can't do that and this is the only week that the whole family can go, and he told me that I need to think of them. I told him tough luck and hung up on him. Well, this last Sunday when my ex dropped the kids off with me, my son refused to talk to me at all and my daughter wouldn't even look at me. When I asked my ex what was wrong, he refused to talk to me, only saying ask them in a snarky tone before leaving. When I asked my daughter what was wrong, she burst into tears and said that I was not letting daddy take them to Disneyland. Asking my son, who still refuses to talk to me. It turns out that my ex told them I was not letting them go to Disneyland with him. He's trying to paint me as the bad guy. I sat both of them down last night to talk to them and explain it's my week with them, but they refuse to listen to me. My daughter just cried and my son told me I'm only doing this to get back at my ex. I think it's unfair for him to do this when his parents scheduled it during my time with them. I demanded an apology from my ex and him to set things straight, but he refuses, and his last text to me being, "Can't tell them the truth 'cause they already know it." I'm so pissed right now. I am expecting my first daughter with my husband in September. I grew up in a moderately religious household with pretty strictly defined gender roles. As in, since I was a girl, I had chores around the house while my younger brother did not have to do anything. I don't talk to my parents for a variety of reasons, going on year 5 now, so they do not know I am pregnant. Both my aunts and grandparents were very supportive of me leaving my household and as such have been my main family. Being 6 months pregnant now, people have started to give gifts and I am very grateful for them. We have decided that we don't want our daughter to be surrounded by pink everything with only girl things. So we have made a conscious effort to include traditionally boy outfits and toys like dinosaurs and cars. We have told people that any gender items would be accepted, and if it's getting too much pink, we have gone out to balance a bit. Getting a green jacket or something. My younger aunt has taken great offense to this because boys are boys and girls are girls. And she is a very verbal and loud person and has let us know several times her opinions. She has 2 boys. At my baby shower, my older aunt gifted us a book called Goodnight Construction Site and a little stuffed truck. My younger aunt went on a tirade about how we are somehow making our daughter trans and not allowing her to be a girl. And she's a loud person, so of course her saying this was more like a yell. And in front of my very liberal in-laws who are very supportive of our choice. Pregnancy hormones took over and I grabbed the toy, gave it to my younger aunt and asked her what part of the penis was needed to operate this toy truck. She yelled that's not what she meant and left. The rest of the baby shower went fine, but it was a bit awkward after. Since then she has been blowing up Facebook where a bunch of people agree with her that I am making my daughter trans, and have been telling me that I was an asshole. The rest of my think what we are doing is fine, but that I shouldn't have handled it that way. I do not care if she ends up loving pink and unicorns etc., we will get her them then. I just was trying to balance out the sheer amount of pink items we were getting from friends and family. Almost every single gift has been heavily pink or girl influenced. To the point where she would not be dressed in anything but pink if we did not go out and buy some more boy things. I also am generally not a person who argues. But I feel like a bit of an unholy because I intentionally said this as deadpan serious as I could and with the intent to embarrass her in front of our family members present. My delivery and question did have the intended effect, and she went quite red before leaving. This was also the first transphobic comment I've ever heard out of her mouth. While we all grew up quite conservative, my older aunt coming out 27 years ago really changed my family's perspective. My grandparents have changed from what they previously viewed, and my aunt was always supportive of my other aunt. My younger aunt always wanted a girl. So I thought she was just trying to act out her fantasy girl with all her gifts and preferences. Me and my daughter, Anya, are from India. Our native language is Hindi. She's 11 years old now. Her father died when she was 5 and I immigrated to States because everyone was trying to get me remarried to a 60-year-old sleazebag. Because, oh no. However will a woman live or raise a child alone? I started dating my now husband when Anya was 6. He had a 5-year-old son, Ben, 50% custody. Me, Anya, Ben, husband and Ben's mom get along really well. The kids were very well adjusted and they were genuinely happy when we got married. Whenever tensions arose, we dealt with them patiently. Let's just say after walking through the minefield of Indian family / drama, diffusing these toy bombs were very easy. Anya has a habit of talking in Hindi when she gets really excited. Sometimes, while talking to me, she starts talking in Hindi without even realizing it. This wasn't a problem. If she does that while others are around, I would remind her and she would revert back to English. Few months ago, Ben's mom passed away and he came to live with us full time. He has a room already and we put Ben into therapy immediately. A week ago, Ben walked in when me and Anya were cooking and we were talking in Hindi and he started crying. He told me he is feeling bad that he can't understand what we are saying. I hugged him and consoled him and assured him that we didn't do it to exclude him purposefully. And then Anya started crying and apologized. The whole thing was just heartbreaking. Since then, Anya has been making conscious efforts to talk only in English and I can tell that it puts Ben at ease. Yesterday, however, she was frustrated and started lamenting about schoolwork in Hindi to me. Me and Anya were in the living room and Ben and husband were in the kitchen and they heard it. Later that night, my husband told me how he thinks we must start thinking about giving punishments whenever she speaks in Hindi unconsciously until Ben starts feeling better. I was horrified at this suggestion. I have never pulled the "she is my daughter, not yours" card. But this is the hill I am willing to die on and use that card if necessary. Whether he likes it or not, it's her first language. Expecting her to always converse in her second language, even when she is feeling some extreme emotions, is just cruel. Especially after she is genuinely making an effort to make Ben feel more comfortable. It's almost like punishing for her heritage or for her being Indian. Of course, this is a huge point of conflict between me and my husband. I think it's unfair to do this to Anya, even temporarily. He thinks me and Anya are unnecessarily making feel Ben bad while he is mourning his mother, while we can try and prevent it. Both of us are conflicted here. The last year and a half has been hard for me, to say the least. Last March, my brilliant and hilarious and beautiful girlfriend Natalie suddenly passed away. Everyone always gave shit about us because of politics. We met in college when we were poli-sci majors. She is very liberal, think AOC, and I'm pretty conservative. We actually met because we were serving as treasurers for our school's College Democrats and Young Republicans clubs, respectively. And our groups would get together for drinks or bowling or laser tag once a month. Well, Natalie and I bonded over a lot of shared interests and we hit it off. Even if we didn't see eye to eye on many issues, debating her was stimulating and formed the cornerstone of our relationship. We've had debates that went on until dawn. We just bounced off each other. She liked to joke that we were drift compatible. I wanted to marry this woman, but she passed away before we got a chance to talk about marriage. I'm in therapy and I'm working through not having her in my life anymore, but it's been rough. Then Rona happened and I got laid off, so I had to move back in with my parents and figure out what I am supposed to do now. My parents mean well, but they got married really young and are more conservative and religious than me. They've been trying to set me up on dates with single girls from their church since I moved back home. But I don't want to date these girls. No offense to them, but it's a small town in the American breadbasket. They don't share the same interests as me, and it feels like their only goal in life is to be a good Christian wife and produce a lot of babies. Trying to talk to them about current events is excruciating for me. The girls my parents tried to set me up with take everything they read on Facebook or hear from Fox News for face value. It makes me miss Natalie and our debates more. My parents mean well. I know they want me to find a nice girl and settle down with her, but not like this. They are nothing like Natalie and never will be. I miss her, even if my folks didn't like her ideas. But when I told them the other night that I wanted them to stop setting me up on dates with these girls, they freaked out and told me that I needed to consider settling down since I just turned 30. They're good girls from great families, I know that, and my parents like them more than they liked Natalie, but she was my one and only. I don't think it's fair for anyone when I still love her. They are even more angry at me because I told them that I just don't see myself getting married anytime soon. But like I said, Natalie was my soulmate and I just can't see myself being with anyone else but her. Yet, they are insisting that I need to find a woman and settle down and give them grandchildren. We were seriously close to talking about marriage. But around the time she died, it was more like how funny it would be if the bridal party wore blue and the groomsmen wore red because the bride is a Democrat and the groom is a Republican / Romeo and Juliet deal. I wish we got to do that. Natalie thought it was hilarious.